Good?
Yeah, ready.
Okay. I think the strategy of inaction and trying to fund other rebel militants on the ground by giving them arms or whatever has proved to be an incredibly harmful strategy in that it almost single-handedly created, coupled with the void left by US troops on the ground, the rise of ISIS, because given the Assad regime and the Syrian civil war, now we have a bunch of rebel militants armed with US weapons that eventually came to be formed as.
I think we can't get into another boots-on-the-ground war with no defined endpoint, because clearly that ends terribly both for us and the people that we're ostensibly trying to protect. And along with that, I don't think it's fair to say that what we've been doing so far has been entirely unproductive and ineffective, because ISIS, because of the actions we've been taking and our allies have been taking without boots on the ground, ISIS has lost 40% of the land that they've been controlling. So I don't think it's fair to come in here and say, like, look, what Obama's doing, it's not working at all, because that's not true.
Well, there's no understating the importance of meaningful diplomacy, especially domestically relative to climate change. But I think a big part of that in moving things like that forward is the cultural divide here that exists in the United States, in which people systematically neglect the fact that global warming is an issue, and they also turn to make this somehow a polarizing political issue in which Republicans and Democrats now are stalling diplomacy that they probably both inherently agree on the factual basis of, but they're doing it merely for a political reason. So in that, I think it's important that we establish an underlying education about like environmental change and procedures, which is probably fault of the schools for not making important, and just improve the public discourse and awareness about the facts that are undeniable about
that. It's arguably our top priority because there are so many just humanitarian and national security implications for climate change. And I don't want to quote a source that I don't have in front of me, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure that the CO2 restrictions agreed to in the Paris Accord are by no means going to solve our problems, and by no means are going to prevent the Earth from heating more than 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 2 degrees Celsius. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, I think we need to be cautious, and we need to make sure that people understand that this agreement doesn't solve climate change, and there's still work to be done.
Yes, I think we need strict, comprehensive gun reform. I think that's been proven by the fact that we've had more mass shootings than days in the U.S. This is not a problem other Western countries have. I think, honestly, that says enough.
So for the good people who have guns, we'll ensure that these people are actually trained. So when they are put into a situation where they have to protect themselves or protect their families, they're capable of doing so. We're not like training everyone. We're ensuring that when you get a gun, you have to have training.
What we see is that ISIS tries to create their propaganda and force people and try to trick Muslims into choosing between Islam and living in the U.S., saying that it's impossible to live in the U.S. and practice like your Muslim faith. And if we all reject refugees, that adds to their propaganda, and that adds to the notion that the U.S. and the West, by extension, are Islamophobic and racist and unwelcoming.
Excluding immigrants from borders isn't necessarily isn't like selective or relative to their race or whatever. Right. It's just a general argument that you don't allow undocumented people, furthermore people who haven't applied and waited in long lines, into our borders. It's not a matter of Syrian refugees, it's a matter of refugees. And you can do a lot better work by stopping the cause of these refugees, which is more action against ISIS. Bombing them from the air, guess what? That only displaces even more people.